So, friends, Donald Trump is the first former president to be criminally indicted, the first former president to be held in civil contempt. That was in his New York fraud trial. And now he's on the verge of being the first former president to be held in criminal contempt. You know, Donald Trump has really outdone himself, hasn't he? Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Donald Trump is breaking all kinds of new ground for former presidents. He's the first former president who was criminally indicted in state court, first former president who was criminally indicted in federal court, first former president who was held in civil contempt twice by Judge Engoron in his New York civil fraud case, and now Donald Trump is about to become the first former president ever held in criminal contempt. You know, friends, I would say Donald Trump behaves like a petulant child, but that would be an insult to petulant children. Let's start with the new reporting, and then let's have a look at New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg's new court filing asking the presiding judge, Juan Merchan, to hold Donald Trump in criminal contempt. First, the reporting, this from The Guardian. Headline, Trump faces contempt motion after social media post about New York trial. And that article begins, about an hour after day one of Donald Trump's criminal trial in Manhattan closed, the former president published the first of what would be a series of posts on Truth Social about his disdain for the trial, specifically his required attendance. The Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, filed a motion in papers made public on Tuesday to hold Trump in contempt of court for violating a partial gag order in the case. Prosecutors said that Trump had already violated his gag order 3 times, posting about the witnesses Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels on social media. They asked the judge to fine Trump $3,000 for the violations. Merchan said he will hold a hearing on the alleged violations on April 23rd. In his posts, Trump blasted Judge Juan Merchan for requiring Trump to attend the trial every day it's in session, which is a requirement for every defendant in every criminal case, in every jurisdiction in the country. The article continues. The trial, centered on hush money payments Trump funneled to the adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 presidential election, is expected to last 6 weeks. Daniels said she and Trump had a brief affair in 2006. Okay, friends, let's have a look at the new court filing in which prosecutors urged Judge Merchan to hold Donald Trump in criminal contempt. In the case of the people of the state of New York against Donald Trump, defendant, the prosecutors write, on April 1st, 2024, this court entered an order directing defendant to refrain from, among other things, making or directing others to make public statements about known or reasonably foreseeable witnesses concerning their potential participation in the investigation or in this criminal proceeding. Such extrajudicial, meaning out-of-court, statements, the court found, pose a very real threat to the integrity of the judicial proceedings by intimidating both defendants, direct targets, as well as others who may be called upon to participate in these proceedings and who rightly fear being subject to similar vitriol. Well, that's pretty clear, pretty direct, pretty pointed. The prosecutors are asking Judge Merchan hold Donald Trump in criminal contempt of court. So what happens now? Well, Judge Merchan has set a hearing on the criminal contempt issue for April 23rd. But the good news is this criminal contempt hearing will be conducted while the trial is still up and running. Judge Merchan is not pausing the trial for it. He's just going to work it in during some downtime. So the trial will continue uninterrupted. And if Judge Merchan holds Donald Trump in criminal contempt, and I suspect he will, the next question is, okay, what is the sanction? What is the penalty? What is the punishment? Well, the prosecutors have asked for 3 counts of criminal contempt. Under the New York state law, Judge Merchan can only impose up to $1,000 on each count of contempt. So the prosecutors have asked for a $3,000 penalty, but they've asked for something else. Finally, this court should warn defendant that future violations of the court's restrictions on his extrajudicial statements can be punished not only with additional fines, but also with a term of incarceration of up to 30 days. So, friends, we know full well that $3,000 doesn't mean squat to Donald Trump. But 30 days in jail might mean something to him. But here's the thing, and I feel like we can see this one coming a mile away. I think Donald Trump wants to be sentenced to a jail term for contempt of court. I think he is dying to have Judge Merchan order him into confinement for a day or a week or even a month. Why? Because Donald Trump will use it as a vehicle to fundraise. He will send the message out to his supporters. Do you see what they're doing to me? They put me in jail. Send me money, more money, more money. And Trump knows that after he's held in contempt the first time, which is very likely to happen on April 23rd, he's just got to push that boundary one more time, post another threat against or about one of the witnesses, and Judge Merchan will pretty much be compelled to then up the ante as far as punishment goes and put him in a jail cell, maybe for a day, maybe for a week. And Donald Trump, I think, wants precisely that. And if he continues to violate the gag order, I don't know that Judge Merchan has any other alternatives. He can bang Trump out for $1,000 a pop, but that doesn't mean anything to Trump. So I think Donald Trump is going to continue to violate the gag order after he's held in criminal contempt. And then I think Judge Merchan will probably be in a position where he has to impose a sentence of incarceration for some period of time, up to 30 days. And here's the thing, friends. You've heard me say some variation of this before. We can't make prosecutorial decisions, and judges can't make judicial decisions based on collateral consequences. What do I mean by that? Some people would say, don't put Donald Trump in jail for a week. It will just strengthen his hand with his supporters. It will enable him to fundraise even more, to grift even more from those people who are foolish enough to keep emptying their pockets and giving their hard-earned dollars to Donald Trump. But the thing is, you can't do business, prosecutorial business or judicial business, based on those collateral consequences. You can't say, I'm going to choose not to enforce the law because it will result in Donald Trump successfully fundraising even more. That's not part of the prosecutorial or judicial calculation. So it's about to get a lot bumpier, not just for Donald Trump, but for we the people, because Trump will continue to test the bounds of our democracy, the strength of our democracy, the resilience of our democracy, and he will continue to test the institutions of government. There was an easy remedy for this long ago, and it was to put Donald Trump in pretrial detention. If we had done that up front, Donald Trump would be all but a distant memory because he would no longer have his megaphone, his social media platform. He would no longer be holding his hate rallies. But the institutions of government opted not to apply the rule of law as it was designed to be applied to Donald Trump, the way it would have been applied to you, to me, to anybody else who was on pretrial release in multiple felony cases and continued to threaten and endanger the witnesses, the judges, the prosecutors, the jurors, family members of those different people. And that's where we dropped the ball, institutionally speaking. But I think Judge Merchan will do what needs to be done, and that is hold Donald Trump accountable if he continues to violate court orders, if he continues to violate gag orders, and if he continues to endanger the witnesses and others. Judge Merchan, I believe, will end up putting Donald Trump in jail. And that's necessary because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and if I could humbly ask you to hit subscribe. It's always free. It doesn't cost anything, and it would be helpful. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.